Ladies and gentlemen, every single morning you wake up, you're standing at the edge of two worlds, one where you repeat yesterday's story and one where you rewrite your destiny. Most people don't realize that the first words they speak when they open their eyes decide how their entire day unfolds. You can either talk yourself into power or talk yourself into pain. So the question is, when you look in the mirror tomorrow morning, what are you going to tell yourself? Fear, doubt, and excuses, or the truth that you were born to rise? And ladies and gentlemen, every morning when you open your eyes, you're given a new chance, a new opportunity to design the life you deserve. And the truth is, most people roll out of bed already defeated by the thoughts that echo in their minds. They start the day saying, "I'm tired, I don't feel like it, today's going to be hard," and those tiny sentences, they shape the entire day, because the words you say to yourself are the seeds that grow into your reality. If you want to transform your life, you've got to start with what you tell yourself every single morning. There are 10 things, 10 powerful truths that can shift your state, your energy, and your destiny the moment you say them with certainty and emotion. And the first thing you must tell yourself every morning is, "I am in control of my life." No matter what happened yesterday, no matter how many people doubted you, no matter how hard life hit you, you are still in charge of what happens next. You can't always control the circumstances, but you can always control your response. When you claim ownership of your life, the excuses disappear and the power returns to your hands. Remind yourself that you are the author, not a character trapped in someone else's story. And the second thing is, I am enough. The world will constantly whisper that you're not tall enough, smart enough, rich enough, skilled enough, but that's a lie designed to keep you small. You have to wake up every morning and decide that who you are right now is enough to begin. Because when you believe you're enough, you start acting like it. You take the leap, you make the call, you face the fear. You don't wait for permission to become who you already are. Every morning, look in the mirror and say it with your chest, "I am enough, not someday, not after I achieve more. Right now." And the third is, today is a gift and I will not waste it. Every single day you wake up is a miracle. Someone out there didn't get the same privilege today. Don't drag yesterday's problems into today's possibilities. Don't live the same day over and over again and call it a life. Say to yourself, "This day is mine. I will use it to grow, to give, to create, to become better." You can't change your past, but you can shape your future, and that starts by honoring the present moment. And the fourth is, I am stronger than my excuses. We all have them, the justifications, the reasons why it's not the right time, why we're too tired, too busy, too scared. But the truth is, your excuses are just stories that protect your comfort zone. You've got to remind yourself every morning that your goals don't care how you feel. Discipline will outlast motivation when your mind starts whispering, "I can't." Your heart has to shout back, "Watch me." That's how breakthroughs happen, when you stop negotiating with your excuses and start taking command. And the fifth is, I attract what I focus on. Energy flows where attention goes. If you wake up focused on stress, problems, and fear, that's what you'll attract. But if you wake up focused on gratitude, growth, and possibility, life starts to bend in your favor. You start seeing opportunities you were once blind to. You start meeting people who elevate you. Every morning, decide to focus on what you want to create, not what you want to avoid. Because the law of focus is absolute, whatever you give your attention to expands. And the sixth is, I am becoming the person I'm meant to be. You are not supposed to have it all figured out right now. You're a work in progress, and that's beautiful. Too many people punish themselves for not being at the finish line when they're still running the race. Growth takes time. Every struggle, every setback, every doubt is shaping you into the person you're destined to become. So instead of hating the process, trust it. Tell yourself, "I'm evolving, I'm learning, I'm getting better every single day." And the seventh is, I am grateful for what I have and excited for what's coming. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a weapon against fear and scarcity. When you start your morning with gratitude, you shift from a mindset of lack to abundance. You stop chasing happiness and start living it. But pair gratitude with excitement and your energy becomes magnetic. You start attracting more of what you appreciate. Feel it deeply: the roof over your head, the people who love you, the air in your lungs, and then get excited about what's next, because the best is never behind you. And the eighth is, I will not let fear dictate my decisions today. Fear disguises itself as logic, as hesitation, as waiting for the right moment. But you and I both know that moment never comes. Fear will always whisper reasons to play small, to delay, to avoid. But courage doesn't mean you don't feel fear, it means you act anyway. Remind yourself every morning that fear is just a signal, a sign that something greater is on the other side. Don't wait until you're fearless to move and the fear will fade. And the ninth is, I am here to serve, not just to survive. The most fulfilled people on earth are not the ones who take the most, they're the ones who give the most. When you shift your focus from what can I get to what can I give, your entire life changes. You find meaning in the smallest moments. You find power in helping others rise. Tell yourself each morning, I will make someone's day better today. Whether it's through kindness, encouragement, or love, that's how you build a legacy, one act of service at a time. And the 10th is, nothing can stop me when I decide to rise. Life will test you, it will throw curveballs, heartbreaks, failures, and pain your way. But the human spirit is unbreakable when fueled by purpose. You were not designed to quit. You were built to endure, to rise, to transform. Every morning, remind yourself that no matter how heavy the world feels, there's a fire within you that cannot be extinguished. You've survived everything that was meant to destroy you. And if you're still standing, it means there's more inside you, more strength, more courage, more power than you've even begun to access. And when you say these 10 things to yourself each morning, not as words but as declarations of identity, you reprogram your mind for greatness. You shift from doubt to certainty, from fear to faith, from limitation to abundance. You start walking differently, talking differently, showing up differently. The world begins to respond to the energy you project. Because when you change your language, you change your mindset. When you change your mindset, you change your behavior. And when you change your behavior, you change your life. And you don't need a perfect plan to start. You just need the courage to wake up, look yourself in the mirror, and speak power into your own soul. Your mornings set the tone for your destiny. So every single day, before the world gets a chance to tell you who you are, tell yourself first. Remind yourself that you are powerful beyond measure, that today is your chance to rise, to grow, to serve, to become. Because greatness doesn't start with talent, luck, or circumstance. It starts with what you choose to believe every morning you wake up. And when you begin to live with that kind of awareness every morning, something inside you shifts forever. You stop waiting for motivation and start creating it. You stop hoping that life will change and realize that you are the change. Every great transformation begins not with a massive event, but with a single decision, the decision to take ownership of your state, your energy, your direction. That's why what you tell yourself each morning matters more than any plan or strategy. Because the world can't give you power, you have to awaken it from within. And every morning, before your feet touch the ground, take a deep breath and remind yourself that this is your moment to rise. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present. The most powerful people in the world are not the ones who never feel doubt, they're the ones who feel it and move forward anyway. It's about progress, not perfection. Each morning is an invitation to step into the version of yourself that's been waiting for you, stronger, wiser, more focused, more alive. You don't have to chase that version, you have to become it, and that begins with your inner dialogue. And tell yourself today, I refuse to live from fear. Today, I lead from faith. Because faith is not just believing that things will work out. It's knowing that even if they don't go as planned, you will. That's real confidence. That's the kind of unshakable belief that makes people unstoppable. You start to realize that every challenge is an opportunity for you to grow, every setback a setup for a comeback, and every delay just divine redirection. When you see life that way, your energy changes, and when your energy changes, everything around you starts to respond differently. And you begin to walk differently, you speak differently, you stop reacting and start responding. You start to live as if life is happening for you, not to you. That small shift in perception turns victims into victors, dreamers into doers, and ordinary people into leaders. Each morning, speak life into yourself before the world speaks limitation into you. Tell yourself, I'm not behind, I'm right where I need to be. Because the moment you stop comparing your journey to someone else's, you free yourself from the invisible prison of self-doubt. And you were not born to copy, you were born to create. The power of these 10 affirmations is not just in saying them, but in feeling them, in letting every word vibrate through your soul until your body believes it. When you say, I am enough, say it like your life depends on it. When you say, I'm stronger than my excuses, let that strength course through your veins. You can't whisper your way to greatness. You've got to declare it, to own it, to live it out loud. And as you repeat these words each day, your subconscious mind starts to shift. The brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's repeatedly imagined with emotion. That means when you tell yourself powerful things with enough consistency and conviction, your mind begins to treat them as truth. That's how you rewire the patterns that used to hold you back. You stop living from the identity of who you used to be and start operating from who you're becoming. This is how transformation happens, not in one grand gesture, but in small moments of conscious repetition. And when you tell yourself, I attract what I focus on, it's more than positivity, it's psychology. Your mind has a filter called the reticular activating system, and its job is to notice what matters to you. When you focus on gratitude, on opportunities, on abundance, your brain literally begins to search for more of that in the world around you. You become a magnet for miracles because you're training your brain to see them. That's why negativity is so dangerous, not because it's wrong, but because it blinds you to what's possible. And so each morning as you speak these truths, visualize them, see the life you want, feel the emotions of already living it. Don't just say, I'm in control of my life. Feel that control in your breath, your posture, your presence. Don't just say, I'm grateful. Actually look around and find something to appreciate right now, the morning light, the beating of your heart, the sound of your breath. Gratitude opens the door to abundance because it tells the universe you're ready for more by appreciating what you already have. And when fear tries to whisper, remind yourself of the 8th truth that fear does not control your decisions. Fear only has the power you give it. Every time you choose courage over comfort, that fear loses strength. Every morning, you have the chance to choose again, to decide that today you won't hide from your greatness. Because deep down you already know who you are, you know the fire inside you. You've just spent too much time dimming it to make others comfortable. But no more. You were not put here to shrink. You were put here to shine, to expand, to show others what's possible when someone truly believes. And you don't need to have it all figured out to start your day with purpose. You just need clarity on who you want to be. Tell yourself, I am becoming the person I'm meant to be, and let that thought shape your choices. Every decision you make today is either feeding your future or your fear. Choose the one that makes you proud when you look back. You are sculpting your destiny with every action, every word, every thought. Make them count, and when life hits hard, and it will, don't see that as failure. See it as feedback. The universe doesn't test you to break you, it tests you to prove to you what you're capable of. When you fall, it's not a sign to quit, it's a reminder to rise differently. Say to yourself, nothing can stop me when I decide to rise, because that decision is everything. You can't always choose your circumstances, but you can always choose your commitment. That's the power that separates those who merely dream from those who make it happen. And if you want to elevate your life, elevate your standards, and your standards start with what you say to yourself. Stop allowing small thoughts to dominate your mind. Stop letting temporary emotions dictate permanent decisions. Each morning, your internal dialogue sets the thermostat for your life. You can set it to doubt and stay cold, or you can turn it up with belief and let your inner fire warm everything you touch. You have to decide, before the world gives you its noise, who you are going to be and how you are going to show up. And when you wake up and say, I am here to serve, not just survive, your energy changes. You start living from contribution, not consumption. You realize that your life expands in proportion to how much you give. You find yourself lifting others, and in doing so, you rise higher yourself. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every moment of compassion creates ripples that you may never see, but they come back in ways you can't imagine. That's how impact is built, not in grand gestures, but in consistent intention. And so, when that alarm goes off tomorrow, don't hit snooze on your potential. Sit up, breathe deeply, and remind yourself that you've got one more day to rewrite your story. One more day to become stronger than your past. One more day to turn your I can't into I will. You're not running out of time, you're just running out of excuses. The time is now. The power is here, and the words you speak are the bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. And every morning you say these 10 things, you're not just speaking them into the air, you're commanding your soul to rise. You're programming your spirit for success. You're reminding your heart that it was never created to settle. You are powerful, capable, unbreakable, and each morning is your chance to prove it again. You don't need external validation when you have internal conviction. The world may not believe in you yet, but that's okay, because when you believe in yourself, eventually the world catches up. And keep your standards high, keep your energy strong, keep your words aligned with your vision, because what you say every morning becomes what you live every night. Speak power, live power, be power. The transformation begins not tomorrow, not someday, but the moment you open your eyes and decide to own the day before it owns you. And when you begin to live this way every morning, you start to notice how everything around you begins to align with that energy. People respond differently to you. Opportunities that once seemed invisible begin to appear. Reacting from WEAKNESS, your CHOOSI from G-Truth Estung. You're not living on autopilot anymore. You're consciously designing your life from the inside out. That's what those few minutes in the morning can do. They can shift the entire trajectory of your day, and over time, your entire destiny. And most people underestimate how much power they have when they wake up. They roll over, scroll through their phone, absorb other people's noise, and by the time they stand up, they've already surrendered their emotional state to the world. But when you take charge of your morning, you take charge of your mind. When you take charge of your mind, you take charge of your life. The first words you say each morning are commands to your subconscious. You're telling your mind what to look for, what to expect, what to attract. That's why it's not just about saying the right words, it's about saying them with emotion. Because emotion is energy in motion. It's what gives those words life, and when you tell yourself, I am in control of my life, you're reminding your mind that no one else can dictate how you feel, how you react, how you rise. You might not control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. You might not control what others do, but you always control the meaning you give to it. That's where freedom begins, not in changing the world, but in changing your interpretation of it. Every time you take ownership, you reclaim the power that fear and doubt once stole from you, and when you say, "I am enough," don't just say it, believe it. Because the moment you truly internalize that truth, you stop chasing approval and start chasing growth. You stop living to impress and start living to express. You no longer seek to fill a void from the outside because you realize you've always been whole on the inside. That's where confidence is born, not from achievements, but from acceptance. When you accept who you are without apology, the world starts to reflect that energy back to you. And then comes the power of gratitude, when you start your day by saying, "Today is a gift and I will not waste it." You awaken to the miracle that's been in front of you all along, life itself. Think about it. Millions didn't open their eyes this morning, but you did. That's not random, that's purpose. Every breath you take is a reminder that you've still got time to create, to love, to change, to rise. Gratitude rewires the brain to notice abundance rather than lack. When you live in appreciation, you stop counting problems and start counting blessings. You shift from "I have to" "I get to." And that one shift transforms frustration into fulfillment. But life will test that mindset. It will throw obstacles your way, and that's when you need to look in the mirror and say, "I am stronger than my excuses." Because the moment you say that with conviction, you draw a line between who you were and who you're becoming. Excuses are comfort disguised as logic. They sound reasonable, but they rob you of progress. Every excuse you make builds a wall between you and your potential. But every time you push through an excuse, you break through another layer of limitation. That's how resilience is built, by choosing progress over comfort again and again. And as you strengthen your mind, you begin to understand a deeper truth. I attract what I focus on. Your thoughts are like magnets. Whatever you think about most, you invite into your life. Focus on problems and you'll see more problems. Focus on possibilities and you'll find solutions everywhere. That's not wishful thinking, it's the science of attention. The mind's filter will always find evidence to support what it believes. So train it to believe in what's possible. Don't just hope for good things, expect them. Expect breakthroughs, expect opportunities, expect miracles. Not because life owes them to you, but because you've conditioned your mind to see them when they appear. And when you say, "I am becoming the person I'm meant to be," you remind yourself that growth is not a destination, it's a daily decision. You're not supposed to be perfect, you're supposed to be evolving. Each morning, you're either getting closer to your best self or drifting further from it. Growth requires intention. It's the willingness to look at your weaknesses without judgment and work on them without delay. The moment you stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, you start to find peace in your own journey. You realize that becoming your best self isn't about speed, it's about direction. As long as you're moving forward, you're winning. And then there's the energy of gratitude mixed with anticipation. I am grateful for what I have and excited for what's coming. That balance creates unstoppable momentum. Gratitude anchors you in the present, and excitement pulls you toward the future. Together, they make you unstoppable. You begin to feel joy now, not later. You stop postponing happiness until things get better, because you recognize that happiness is a decision, not a destination. When you start your day with that feeling, you vibrate at a higher frequency, and that energy becomes contagious. You attract people, ideas, and circumstances that match your state. And when fear knocks, because it always will, you meet it with the truth. I will not let fear dictate my decisions today. Fear's only power is persuasion. It can only win if you listen. Every time you act in spite of fear, it loses its grip. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means mastering it. Fear is a signal that something matters. It shows up right before your next level. When you feel that resistance, instead of running, smile and say, "This means I'm growing." Because it's true, fear and growth travel together. You cannot have one without the other, and when you remind yourself, "I am here to serve, not just to survive," your entire life takes on new meaning. You stop living for just yourself and start living for something greater. The moment you serve, you step into abundance because giving is the seed of receiving. The fastest way to find fulfillment is to give what you want to feel, give love, give hope, give encouragement. You rise by lifting others. When you help someone else see their strength, you amplify your own. Service turns pain into purpose and turns struggle into strength. And finally, the most powerful declaration of all, nothing can stop me when I decide to rise. Because everything changes the moment you decide. Decision is the ultimate power. When you truly decide, you cut off every other possibility. There's no turning back, no second guessing, no hesitation. You move with clarity, with certainty, with conviction. The universe doesn't respond to indecision, it responds to commitment. When you commit with your whole being, life rearranges itself in your favor, doors open, resources appear, people show up, because life supports the ones who move with purpose. And each morning, when you repeat these truths, you're building mental muscle. You're conditioning your mind for strength, focus, gratitude, courage, and resilience. You're programming your brain to operate from power instead of pain. Over time, these words stop being affirmations and start becoming your identity. You begin to live as the person you once only dreamed of being. You start showing up with presence, speaking with confidence, and acting with intention. You begin to feel unstoppable, not because life is perfect, but because your spirit is unbreakable. And every time you choose to start your day this way, you're proving to yourself that your power doesn't come from your circumstances. It comes from your state of mind. You don't wait for good days, you create them. You don't depend on motivation, you build momentum. You don't need certainty, you generate confidence through action. This is how ordinary people build extraordinary lives, by mastering the small, consistent habits that shape who they become. And so each morning, before the world demands your attention, give that attention to yourself. Speak life into your mind. Ignite your soul. Remind yourself that you are not here by accident. You are here for a reason, and every day is a new chance to prove it through your focus, your attitude, and your decisions. Because when your words and actions align with your purpose, you stop surviving and start creating. That's when your mornings stop being routine and start being rituals, rituals of power, purpose, and transformation. And when you keep living this way, when you wake up every single day and feed your mind with strength instead of fear, everything about you begins to evolve. You start to feel a different kind of energy running through your veins, a fire that doesn't depend on outside motivation, a calm confidence that doesn't shake when things go wrong. Because you've trained your mind to see challenges not as punishment, but as preparation. You begin to understand that life isn't testing you to see what you can endure. It's showing you what you're made of. And every obstacle that shows up in your day is an invitation to grow. Every person who doubts you is a reminder to believe in yourself. Every moment of discomfort is a signal that you're stretching into something greater. When you wake up with that mindset, you stop resisting life and start flowing with it. You realize that what happens around you matters far less than what happens within you. And the words you choose each morning become the foundation for that inner world, the invisible structure that holds your strength, your confidence, and your peace together. And you begin to notice how your energy shifts the moment you declare those 10 truths. You carry yourself differently, not with arrogance, but with assurance. You stop apologizing for your potential. You stop shrinking to fit the space others give you. You start walking into rooms as if you belong there because you do. Every word you speak to yourself each morning becomes a silent armor that shields you from negativity, from doubt, from the opinions that once had the power to derail you. You no longer chase validation because you've learned to validate yourself. And there's a power that awakens when you finally understand that your life reflects your inner dialogue. You can't expect peace while feeding your mind chaos. You can't expect abundance while repeating the language of scarcity. You can't expect confidence while telling yourself stories of failure. The moment you take control of that language, you take control of your destiny. Because the most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself before the world hears a single word from your mouth. And each morning becomes a sacred meeting between your present self and your future self. The present version of you asks, "What do I need to do today to become the person I dream of being?" And the future version whispers back, "Start by believing you already are." That's the truth that so many forget. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So when you start your day speaking as the person you intend to become, you collapse the distance between dreaming and living. You start to act like that person, talk like that person, make decisions like that person, and soon enough, you become that person. And as you do, you'll begin to notice something else. Peace starts replacing pressure. You stop rushing. You stop forcing. You stop trying to prove yourself because you understand that growth isn't loud, it's consistent. Success doesn't always scream, sometimes it whispers. Every morning, as you affirm these truths, you plant seeds that the world might not see yet, but in time they'll bloom into something undeniable. That's the power of persistence. You don't have to move mountains today. You just have to take one powerful step in the right direction again and again. And when you look in the mirror and say, "I am enough, I am becoming, I am strong," you're building the identity that will carry you through every storm. Because life won't always go as planned. Some mornings you'll wake up tired. Some mornings you'll wake up uncertain. But that's when your practice matters most. That's when those words aren't just affirmations, they're lifelines. They pull you back to your truth. They remind you that no matter what happens, you still have the power to choose how you show up. And the moment you take control of your state, you take control of your day. And there's a version of you waiting on the other side of discipline. A version that's fearless, grounded, and unstoppable. That version doesn't need motivation because it's built from purpose. That version doesn't need approval because it's fueled by vision. Every morning when you recite these truths, you're not just motivating yourself, you're shaping that version into existence. You're aligning your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions with the person you were always meant to be. That's how transformation becomes inevitable, because your inner world starts matching the greatness you've been speaking into it. And you'll notice the world responding differently, not because the world changed, but because you did. You start walking into familiar places and realizing they no longer have the same hold over you. You begin handling problems that used to overwhelm you with calm and clarity. You start hearing your old fears whisper, but they no longer control your choices. You've outgrown the limitations that once defined you. And it all started with a few sentences spoken each morning with conviction. That's how powerful your words are. They don't just describe your reality, they create it. And think about it, when you say, "I am grateful," you train your mind to search for blessings instead of burdens. When you say, "I am in control," you remind your subconscious that you hold the wheel, not your circumstances. When you say, "Nothing can stop me," you break the chains of doubt before the world even has a chance to put them on you. You're not just setting an intention, you're declaring a truth. And when truth meets belief, miracles start to happen. But don't mistake this for magic. It's not about saying the words once and waiting for everything to change. It's about embodying them until they become second nature. It's about repetition, emotion, and belief. Because repetition is the mother of mastery. You didn't learn fear overnight, you repeated it for years. You won't build confidence overnight either, but if you repeat strength long enough, it becomes who you are. If you repeat gratitude long enough, you start to see abundance everywhere. If you repeat purpose long enough, you wake up every morning knowing exactly why you're here. And this is why your morning routine is sacred. It's where you shape your identity before the world tries to shape it for you. Before emails, before notifications, before responsibilities, take those few minutes for yourself. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and feel the truth of your own words. Don't rush it. Feel the weight of I am enough. Feel the power of I attract what I focus on. Feel the strength of I am stronger than my excuses. Because when you feel it, you activate it. When you activate it, it becomes part of your energy, and your energy determines your results, and soon people will start to notice the difference. They'll ask what changed, but it won't be something they can see. It'll be something they can feel. Your presence will carry a different frequency. You'll walk into a room and others will feel uplifted just by being near you. That's what happens when you live with alignment. That's what happens when your inner dialogue matches your outer actions. You become a living example of what happens when someone decides to take ownership of their state every single morning. And yes, there will still be hard days. There will still be moments of doubt, setbacks, and silence. But those moments won't define you anymore, they'll refine you, because deep down you'll know who you are. You'll know what you stand for. You'll know that your power isn't something that can be taken away. It's something you renew daily through choice. And the greatest choice you make each day is what you choose to believe about yourself before the world tells you otherwise. And so each morning, when the world is quiet and it's just you and your thoughts, remember that this is where everything begins. This is where you decide whether you're going to live by design or by default. This is where you decide whether you're going to react or rise. Speak the truth, feel the truth, become the truth. Because when your mornings begin with power, your days unfold with purpose, and your life becomes a reflection of the strength you built within. The world won't change for you until you change for you, and that change begins the moment you open your eyes and choose your words with intention.